Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, broken engine mounts. Hello.
Hello.
What is...
What's going on? Not too much. The exasperated one. What's going on?
It's just been one of those days. It's all good. I think what really finally clicked my brain over was walking into one of the kids' rooms and finding two toy buckets sitting on top of each other, kind of like a I don't know, like a hamburger box from McDonald's. So it's like the two pieces and you can open it up like a clam. I lifted the top off, and on the inside I found a cup, and the cup was 3/4 filled with water, and also in the cup were like little itty bitty teeny tiny bits of paper that had been delicately and precisely shredded with very, very nimble fingers. And then there was like a couple of dice thrown in there, plus a little fuzzy ball and a cotton ball. And then stuck into the water in the cup was a stuffed rabbit that had soaked up a lot of water. And then next to this was another thing filled with water and little bitty teeny tiny shredded pieces of paper. And that's when
I'm very confused.
That's when I decided I'm done for the day.
Was there an interrogation as to what this elaborate construction is, or maybe why it was created?
No.
Or is that still to come?
No, it was just told to be gotten rid of and destroyed. So. Because I didn't really feel like finding out the origins of said mystery project.
The origin story of this mysterious.
I thought it best to, for my sanity and everyone else's safety, if this was just, gotten rid of as quickly as possible.
Now, the great, and from my perspective, beautiful irony of this particular incident is the little piece of information that once, when Collin was young, listeners, he took string or yarn or ribbon, perhaps, I don't exactly recall which, and created an extraordinarily elaborate spider web type creation throughout his entire room.
Oh.
And so, so there's
something about turns out fair
that's
play.
Great. Something like that. I don't really know, but that's what.
And it's like it's fine. It's just like I always discover these kind of projects.
Mostly just so weird. Like, it's just
weird.
Bizarre.
I tend to discover these projects as we are getting ready for bed. So it's like at the end of the day, getting
while you're already doing like 15 things.
15 things. We're running late. Everyone's tired. And then it's like, and this. Okay.
Yes, one more thing. It's like, it's overwhelming and strange. And then mostly just like really strange. Like, what? Why? What is this?
Don't understand. Oh, well.
Yeah,
Showing creativity.
That's true. That is true. Feel sorry for the rabbit, though. Sorry, small rabbit. That's unfortunate.
innocent bystanders, I guess.
Yeah.
And
True.
such. Yeah, other than that, that's my day's been my day's been uneventful.
That's other than the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's all right. Mine's been relatively uneventful. Like, my brain finally turned on today and said, "Oh, you're in school now." Haha. So, like, okay, got it. School mode activate. It's a little laggy on the uptick here after break. Like, Monday was like, what's happening? Where am I? And I'm really glad that we didn't record Monday, because after a whole day of using my teacher voice after like basically not talking to anybody for 2 weeks, my throat was like destroyed. It's like,
sorry, but that's no fun.
Yeah, so it's one of those things like, man, I forget about how loud I speak during the day on a general like goings on. So yeah, we just I kind of remembered what was going on, kind of back in the swing of things. So going back again. So kind of got the rest of the week already planned out and ready for next week. So
that's nice.
But it took a few days to kind of be like, what am I doing? Where are we? What's happening?
Getting your bearings again.
Yeah, it's kind of resetting your bearings about like, oh yeah, school. What's it? And then I always forget about like, so we have this thing, and it's called it's like it's the full name is a response to intervention. It's RTI is what we call it, and like it is a tiered directed reading instruction time.
Okay.
Right. So like we kind of, based on test scores and performance in language arts classes, we've split the kids up into, there's 5 groups of our kids. So like one group goes to like, that's when they go to ELL, those English language learners.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then another group goes to like a Title I like stuff, and then the remaining kids get split up between myself and the other 2 6th grade teachers, and it's like kind of extra really direct reading and writing instruction time, like language arts skills,
Okay.
And so just like skills that they missed or they needed, and it's tiered. So like one group is a high group, one group is kind of the middle group, and one group's the lower readers and stuff, right? So they can get more instruction and things they need help with and stuff like that. And I always forget about more at their level. Instead of like at 6th grade level, it's more directed at where are they actually reading or where are they actually performing, right? Like, so the one group, if you have a bunch of kids that are consistently scoring 7th and 8th grade on the reading, well, they're doing more advanced things. The kids that are pretty close to grade level are just getting extra practice on their grade level, and the kids that are lower are getting extra practice on skills they need to try to get them caught up, just kind of meeting them where they are type of thing. But I always forget about RTI time. I forget about planning for that. Oh. Right. Because it's like just an extra 25 minutes of my day.
Yeah.
That I kind of forget about sometimes, because it's not my core instruction area. It's just like this other thing that I have to do. So sometimes it's like, oh, right. what do we? I had kind of got everything else planned, and then we don't have RTI on Monday, but it's Tuesday through Friday. So kind of like yesterday, I was like, oh yeah, what are we gonna do for RTI?
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Exactly. I sort of forgot about that part. I always forget about that part. Like I plan really good for everything else, and the other stuff is like, because I talk to the language arts teacher a lot. Like, hey, what are we doing? What do you guys do in class? How can I adjust that for my class? What are we doing there? To try to give extra oomph to what she's already doing.
Hmm.
But I forgot about that after break, and I was like, and I have like a little notebook with like my ideas, and I have some set projects that I do, like the commercial thing that I talked about a few times. Like that's one thing that I do like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But like I just kind of didn't remember where I was in my RTI life. Like, what's next? What did we just do? Where am I? What's going on? So that was another brain turning on moment of, oh yeah, that's another thing I got to get ready for. I have a plan now, though. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's all right.
It's all good. Okay. Well, that's,
All good.
you plan, you work the plan, and then you change the plan, and then you, go from there.
It's true. But I just had to kind of reorient myself. And I was like, what am I doing?
Wait a minute.
So I got her next. I kind of told him today kind of what our goals are going to be. Like, what are we aiming for? Right. We're going to be doing informational writing. That's going to be our area of focus now. Informational writing and reading nonfiction, like how to read it, practicing reading it. This is also good test prep for in a few months, right? So kind of getting some of that started. Mm-hmm. So reading nonfiction, like short articles, not like textbooks, right? Like, but short article reading, kind of the characteristics of nonfiction and specifically informational texts. And then, like, how do you kind of construct something that is informational? So we will construct some sort of informational piece to share information with other people. That's what we do usually. And I like to do, I think I mentioned this before too, but I like to do short like video projects for this.
Yeah.
Because they do a lot of writing in writing class. So we try to switch it up a little bit and make it more, I don't know, it's more fun. They like it. It's more fun for them. And number two, the pressure of like writing up paragraphs is, they don't really, that can be hard for certain kids to deal with. Like, and writing informational pieces is difficult because you have to collect all the information and then you have to organize it and then you have to write it. So if you can do, I like the video projects because now it's a group effort and we can focus things on, each person can share the tasks a little bit, but then we can still focus on the important parts and then like how to deliver that part. Right. And then, plus some of the kids get to do cool stuff like do the video edit because they do all the video editing and all of the scene stuff. Right. I kind of just act as like producer/director. Like, okay, yeah, do that. And they kind of do like the rest of it. They kind of come up with I let them come up with as much ideas as possible and kind of be in charge of it. And I'm just kind of like the background guy. Like, because they're like, I just kind of ask questions like, well, where do we put the camera for that? How does this need to look? What do you want it to do? Plus, that allows us to organize our ideas more visually, right? So I do a lot of like, I try to focus on like other ways of organizing information in this class, like instead of like your traditional outline format, we try to do things like storyboarding, or we use note cards, or stuff like that. Kind of different ways to organize your information because some of them like think very differently, and especially the storyboarding. We can just like draw a couple pictures and kind of this is our plan sequence, and then we can follow it. It's just another way to get them to think about how to organize and stuff like that. So that's why I like to do that. Plus, it's really fun. And then we show the rest of the classes, and they like it. So it's good.
Aha! Yeah, there you go.
Aha!
Well, yeah, and I like that idea, too, because, again, like you mentioned, like you're tapping into a different type of not just, like, learning, but just a whole new skill set for them to flex and to see that maybe they haven't experienced before, and to put together pieces of the puzzle completely differently than they do every single day when they're in school, right? It's not necessarily completely out of left field. It's just it's still close enough that it's comfortable that they can do this, but it is just like, hey, like we're gonna approach this a little bit differently, and get out of our comfort zone just a little bit, right? Like not this big massive step.
Yeah, and it's cool, and it can be really collaborative, and they can get a lot of stuff out of it that way. Like when we edited our commercial, we just I mirrored the screen of our iPad up to the board, and I was like, all right, do it. Let's do it right now in class. So they did it. I don't ever touch it. They do it all, and they asked for input. Like, oh, hey, should this, this little section, should it be here or here? How do we move it around? So again, how do we organize this to make it make sense, right? Because even in that, that's a persuasive piece technically, right? But even in that aspect, you're telling there's a sequence that has to happen. And how do you put it together so that it makes sense, so that your audience understands what you're telling them? Right. So like, but again, instead of like writing it down, they're physically moving a piece of media around. And it, sometimes your brain needs to see it that way instead, to be like, oh, well, I want to put this piece here instead of there, or this needs to go like that. It's just another way to think about stuff that might reach somebody else instead. So it's fun.
Yeah.
I like it. And it goes along with a lot of our author's purpose stuff, and then we can hit lots of like small things in there with that. So it's fun. So informational. Last year we made like how-to videos.
Yeah.
I think we'll do that again because it's not too complicated. It's not like a video essay, right? We're not going to like come up with like tons of research and make a big like thing like that. But how-to videos are cool because again, it's presenting. How do I present my information clearly, distinctly, and then like in the correct order so somebody can follow along and understand what I'm trying to tell them. Right. It's kind of that. How do I make this coherent?
Sure. Well, you talk about like a very simple skill. It seems so simple. Just give instructions for somebody to complete a task. But when you sit down to really think about it and try and come at it from somebody else's perspective, who's quote, never done this before, that also helps somebody put themselves in somebody else's shoes. Right, you start thinking outside yourself, thinking of others for others, and I really like those kind of exercises because in the quote unquote adult world, literally whatever that means anymore these days, I have no idea.
True,
but
I try not to be a part of it. It's not fun. I don't.
You do find yourself.
I took those Toys R Us commercials to heart.
Beat pants. You do find yourself instructing people very informally most of the time, not in a you are my, I am supervising you to do this thing, blah, 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 blah. Just people on the street or, people ask directions or ask, how did you make this work or things like that. Like that comes up an awful lot every single day.
Yeah. And so it's good practice, how do you make yourself understood? Because a lot of times I tell the kids this, right? Like I tell them, like sometimes I know what I'm saying, right? That doesn't translate to know what I'm saying. So like, don't ever feel like, don't ever feel like you cannot ask for clarification, right? I try to be very transparent.
Yeah.
Sometimes I make sense to myself, but sometimes I get excited and I start going real fast. And I start using like high-level vocabulary that I haven't taught you yet. Mm-hmm. And I just start rambling. And then I look at your faces and I see you going, and then I roll back. So like, give me the sign and then we can go from there. So it's, I tell them like, sometimes I'm not clear. I think I'm being clear and I'm not. And that's okay. We'll try again. It's fine. Just let me know. So I try to be open about that. Because, I've had teachers before that are like, no, you just figure it out. I'm right about everything. So I don't want to be that person. So
right.
So it'll be good. I think we'll try. I told him about it today, just so we can start brainstorming about what to do later. So when we finally sit down and talk about all right, now we're going to start planning out our project after a little bit of practicing some skills and stuff, then we can really have a place to start and go from there. So that was kind of the thing today. Officially back in school mode. That's a lot of school mode talk. So I will get.
It's okay. It's okay. We love school mode talk. Keeps people coming back.
All right. Yes, definitely. Everyone loves that. What also keeps people coming back is I also had to be part of a collaborative process of helping figure out. I've talked before about our grading online grade book thing system and how completely unwieldy it is. That reared its head again today.
Oh,
so
no.
Yeah, there's this weird thing. I'll try to keep this short because it's not super interesting, but it's just annoying.
Okay.
There's this weird bug in there where if you have a certain setting selected and then you mark something as if you don't fill out the field in the grade book section, the program counts it as missing and it flags it somewhere in a weird sub menu that you have to dig to find. And then when you put the grade in, it does not unflag it as missing. So it does not recalculate the grade. Because it's supposed to automatically calculate it's like a spreadsheet, basically. And so if it flags it as missing, and then the flag does not, something broke in this thing, and it will not unflag it as missing.
I'd say so.
Now, if you mark it as exempt, or you just put a 0 in, it doesn't do that. Right? It registers. Well, sometimes if you have the thing flagged, if you put a 0, it says missing. But if you have a thing selected and it marks it as exempt, right? When you add a grade in, it says, "Oh, here's a new grade now, ta-da." So now all of a sudden it counts that field in its averaging of the grade system. So my neighbor teacher, who is new this year, she was putting her grade cards are due for the last semester today, and she was putting in the last late thing, and she was looking at them, and they were all these really bad grades, and then she looked at the fields next to it, and they were all turned in. So it was 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Then the average grade was a C. What? So we had to go in, and me and this other guy, because we fought this last year. He's the one that figured out it was broken, and then we had to just menu dive to figure out how to fix it because nobody knew what to do about it.
Jeez,
and that was terribly unfun. He figured it out, and then we fixed our grade books last year, but it did it to hers, and so we had to menu dive slightly and brainstorm about how did we fix that. And so we had to get her stuff all fixed up. That was terrible. So it's all fixed and ready to go, but yuck. It's so bad. It's so weird. And I don't know what, I think at some point last year, the program updated, and the update broke something, I think is what happened.
Oh.
Because it didn't used to do that. And then all of a sudden, at some point last year, it just started doing that.
Hooray. Lucky you, right?
Yeah. Yay. I love a broken system that nobody actually knows how to use in the first place. So
right. Well, and it's crazy because you think of something just so fundamental that literally every teacher will use. You have to overcome, I don't know, something just so plain and simple and reliable, and then to break it like that, I don't know, that just I don't see how that would get through their system when, if of all the things that a teacher needs, a rock solid, reliable grade book and grading system is
yeah, that's the big
kind of number one. I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah. And like the other, like, no, the other frustrating thing, again, I've touched on this before, I think, is like nobody's actually ever been trained about how to use it, like
Oh, right.
in depth. You know, like I got the crash course 5-minute version when I got hired, and that's all I've ever gotten. That's it. Right. And I think it's one of those things that the problem is there's such familiarity with like the two functions that everybody uses. Nobody bothers to tell new people about how it works. Because they just like it's just like a thing that they do. And it's one of the things like, well, you don't tell other people about it. And like so the lack of knowledge, it just sort of gets passed down repeatedly to everyone. It's like, no, why?
Gross.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. It's terrible. So I don't know what we're gonna do about that. But we fixed her thing. So hopefully her kids don't just have like straight Fs now. So that
Oh no.
yeah, it was bad. But it's similar to like a frustration that I have. Again, more office ranting. Sorry, everyone. The other like big thing in my life that just causes me infinite frustration is the copy machine. Right? So like it's something is always weird with it, right? Number one, like people don't clear their jobs and it gets like backed up and jammed and like nothing will print ever because it's been flooded with stuff and then nobody knows how to go in there and clear it. So I have to go down there and again, after some menu diving, I figured out how to delete everything that's in the queue to do it. So I just go and get it out of there. It makes me angry. But like or people like copy a bunch of stuff and then just leave it there forever. Like, what are you doing? Come on, stop it. But the real thing that bothers me is when it starts not working. Like if it's out of toner or the waste toner box is full or something like that. Like I can't do that. Right. Somebody else is supposed to take care of that.
Right.
And
right.
It's like the one thing in my day that operates outside of my control. And it's consistently the one thing that lets me down. It makes me so bad because it's like everything else I'm very self-sufficient. Sure. Right? Like I don't need outside help for basically anything else the majority of the time. Every once in a while here and there I do, but the majority of things I need no other help. I'm a very self-sufficient operating classroom. And so when the copy machine starts letting me down, I just get so mad at it. Because it's the one thing. It's the one thing that I can't do anything about. And it's always the thing that's broken or screwed up or messed up.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Well, I guess it'd be kind of like kind of like if the coffee maker, right? Like if that just every day just squirted a little bit of hot water on your thigh, like or on your face, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it still makes the coffee, but I get slight scalding burns every time that I have to go make it. Like these.
Yeah, it's just so annoying. And I know that makes me sound like a weird, like hyper control freak or whatever. And I'm not really like that.
Not really.
It's just that I'm like, no, it's just that I'm so self-sufficient. Like everything that I need done, almost everything I need done, I can just do. Right? Like, yeah. I can just do it. I can just say, if I need, like, because I need lots of crazy stuff all the time. So, like, I've talked one of the top maintenance guys, like, I know him real well. And, he basically just told me, yeah, if you ever need anything, just go in there and grab it.
Nice.
He's like, I know you'll put it back and I know you'll be good with it. So just grab whatever you need anytime you need it. So if I need something fixed, I just fixed it. Right? They've got more important things to do than fix my blinds. Right? Yeah. I can do that. It's fine. Like I make a big mess in my room all the time. So I just get the dust mop and the broom and I clean it because I made a big giant mess with rocks in my classroom. So I'm going to clean it up. That's not, you don't need to do that. I can do that because I made the mess. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to take care of all this stuff. So like, but the copy machine, I can't do anything about the copy machine.
Not yet, at least. Not until you go to
Not
the
yet,
Xerox repair school. I guess you could do that over the break.
That's true.
If they have an online correspondence course.
Well, part of it's because it's all like automated, right? So if the toner thing is out, you just have to let it sit there because it's allegedly sent a signal to the people who, like the technology people that like fix all that stuff, and then they can just come and fix it, you know? But like, I don't know if it actually did or if it, you know, it's a whole nebulous concept of, did it actually do that? Is it actually working like it's supposed to? There was one time last quarter, though, where I did just get frustrated and I just went to the central office and was like, I need this toner. And I handed them the empty one. I was like, I need this now. Because they have a stash. That's where it goes. It like sits in the little storage closet thing. So I was like, I need this toner. Because it'd been out for like a week and a half and nobody had done anything about it. And I just got mad and was like, all right, I'm fixing it. I don't care. Give me out.
Oh
well.
Toner problems. Well, hopefully.
They are. They're terrible.
So sorry.
It's all right. Aaron, how's your office going?
Yeah.
Well, I actually went into my office for like the first time in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Something like that. And so I was all like,
did you remember where it was?
Vaguely, yeah. I just didn't. I couldn't. The problem is, I just don't. I could not remember like who some of the people were. Like some of like the main office people who they're all really nice. The problem is, I just couldn't remember who they were. So, yeah, I went up there and everyone's like, "Oh, hi, Aaron, how's it going?" I was like, "Oh."
Did you pull out the old, hey, you, how's it going?
Sort of. There are some other people in there. Thankfully, they were wearing their name tags, or else I would have been a little bit kind of out of my element. But I was like, oh, hello, person, which you are. Hello, yes. So it was, I definitely panicked. But thankfully, everyone was all really chilled. But they took a lot of the like maintenance stuff out, and so all the printers are kind of like not the right ones, and so I'd be like, excuse me, but where is this print to? And they're like, why? Like, shouldn't you know? I'm like, well, I should, but I haven't been here forever.
I've been at home.
So I don't know what this is or where this goes. And they're like, oh, yeah, it just goes over there. And I'm like, thank you for not yelling at me because I have not been here forever. But we're still apparently losing our office. But I haven't seen anything promoting against it. So, yeah, that's what it's been like. Like I said, I just went for the first time in like several months, and I was like, who are you people and what are you doing? Like, oh, you work here. Oh no, I'm sorry. I forgot. Please forgive me. I'm new at this. That's what they do at the that's what they do at the Tulsa office. It's a much bigger office, and they're always like, why haven't you signed in? I was like, well, I don't they don't have to do that at my other place. You're not at the other place. Like, I'm sorry. Please don't yell at me. I'm sorry. So
I normally interview people in pig fields, okay? Leave me alone. I don't know.
They're mean. I'm just here to do my job. And I'm crying now. Oh yay. But yeah, it is a vastly different world down there. But I just kind of do my own thing, show up, and then I leave, not get yelled at. So
Always
other
good.
than that,
Not getting yelled at.
so that's what my work life has been, at least.
Excellent. I'm glad you remembered where your office was. This is
I
good
was
news.
worried for you.
It was a struggle, but
That's fair.
yeah.
What else you been up to other than that?
Well, celebrated the big 3-0.
Oh man,
What was
your
that?
back hurt yet? You just like wake up and go, oh.
Well, so we've actually
It's disconcerting when your young brother is 30. Like,
How's
crap.
that make you feel, old brother?
Yeah, I know.
So we've actually been like, even before the New Year's, we were actually like working out, excessively and being more proactive. But I haven't like truly worked out since high school, or even like since college. But I was like, I know what I'm doing, and like, oh, my body can't do that anymore.
Surprise!
So
happy 30th birthday. Your knees hate you. That's what.
Shelby makes fun of me every day. It's like, oh, look how old you are. I'm like, what'd you say? I'm losing my kid. But New Year's, we went down to downtown Tulsa, went to a really cool sushi restaurant, and
nice.
Conveniently had sushi. Then we went to the Cherokee Casino in Ramona, and we listened to a live band, and we hung out with Shelly's dad and stepmom.
Cool.
Until the New Year's, and so I was like, huzzah, we had New Year's. Now I'm tired.
Yeah.
But then we went back home, in which I had a unfortunate curb accident.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was raining pretty hard, like all day, and it's in a part of the town where I just don't spend a lot of time. And we went to Whataburger, and then we were leaving, and I was driving down the road, and it was wet, and I did not see this gigantic curb until like right at the split second. I turned, still maintaining control of the vehicle, and I did not jump the curb or anything like that. I just like hit it and like ricocheted off. Still maintaining, but it left a nice little kerthunk. Had a very nice sounding vehicle afterwards, in which I took it, when was that, Monday, and the diagnosis was that I hit it so hard that it broke the engine off of the engine mount.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, so
I figured tie rod ends, A-arms, that kind of thing.
Control, yeah.
No, thankfully not. Yeah,
thankfully not. Engine mount ripping is not good.
So it was kind of interesting. So they showed me that set tire, and they pulled the thing off, and they're like, "Hey, here's the thing," and I was like, "Whoa, that's not supposed to be there." And they're like, "Exactly." So it like the engine had like broken off, and it was like sitting on the oil pan and one of the exhaust thingamabobbers.
No.
I don't want to say manifold, but that's not right. So they thankfully fixed it. It took them like a good 4 hours.
Does it re-weld a mount on there, or what they do?
Pretty much. So they 4 hours and $412 later.
I was expecting that to cost a lot more. That's not bad.
I am
no, it is not.
That's pretty good. Colin's mad at you right now that it only cost you $4.
So angry that you had your engine mounts re-welded in my
only one. So it had hit it so hard on the right side that it just like shattered only like one corner of it, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. It probably twisted it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
Probably twisted a frame a little bit and popped that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it like broke in like two different places, and like the engine was just like sitting on top of like the oil pan or whatever it is.
Still though.
And so they like they jacked it up and like repinned it, and then they like you could hear them hammering from outside, but they were like hammering
always
like
a good sign.
Pin like back into place because it was like, yeah, that's not supposed to be bent.
No.
And but it actually sounds a lot smoother. It sounds better than what it did before I got in the wreck. So I don't know if it was just a big
awesome, perfect,
just a big win in total. But yeah. So they did that, and then we kind of went on we took Shelby's car. We went on an adventure to Stillwater, and we took her friends who were from Alabama, just kind of around, kind of, saw some Oklahoma sites. And so then I've been working my tail off. It's been an absolute mayhem of a week with some things, and so I'm kind of trying to play damage control as best as I can. But I'm just kind of plugging along as best I can. But that's kind of been our week down here. Not a whole lot of there's some. I'll wait till next podcast to kind of talk about some. I don't want to say like they're not, nothing big life changing is happening, but there might be an opportunity to move up and out. But I'll save that for next week. But other than that, that's kind of what it's been. That's all the new festivities down here. We still have Christmas decorations up, and
heck yeah, same. Sorry, Susan informed me that we're not taking them down anytime soon because they're lovely and she likes them. Said, all right, sounds good to me.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, that's what we've been heading along pretty good here. Just it's raining now, obviously.
Oh yeah, all day.
It's
is it snowing yet?
Not yet, but it's supposed to freeze tonight, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But yeah, that's what's happened here in the Oklahoma area. Woo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Collin, other than finding exciting creations of children, what have you
what? I missed.
Collin's children are messy.
Yeah.
They're making
Wait, what? No.
Yeah, I went into my office, more office talk again. This is what the listeners tune in for.
Man, there we go. I have some media talk we can do afterwards.
Oh, so sweet. Well, I'll go quickly.
Review session. No, you're fine. It's okay.
I enjoy the media talk too. No, it was I had to go in we're doing like monthly check-ins with everybody kind of in my group just to see how everybody's feeling, making sure we're all on track, all of that good stuff. So it was interesting again to be in the office, be in amongst people.
Was your printer working?
You what?
Was your printer working?
My printer was working. I did not have to use it.
Oh, that's good.
But it did make me think of this. I don't know. It was very interesting because I'm so used to, I don't know, not interacting with people at my work like in person that whenever I do see them, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, like I can like talk to you and like, it's actually really nice.
No. Oh yeah, but I don't want to.
But no. It's nice to talk to other people. But I also,
if you say so,
most days. But I also started to pull in some more of my office stuff from my work office to bring to my home office, just because it's like, well, yeah, I took everything there so I wouldn't have to have it here at home. But now, a year into this, it's like, well, I actually do
that you're at home
more. I'm at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to, get this taken care of. So anyway, that's it's nice to kind of pull in some books and pull in some more papers and some notebooks and some pens and things like that and bring those home and kind of get those set up. So it's not quite so bare bones here at the home office. But I did as I was like carrying out this armful of stuff, I was like, don't worry, I'm not like leaving. I'm just, restocking the home. So yeah, that was good. It was good. I do like going into the office infrequently now. I've decided that it is a nice change of pace, and that whenever there are things that really have to like really get done, it's a nice break from just working at home, and it's a place that I can really seriously focus. And it's turned into this, like, when I'm there, it's a very special occasion, and
interesting.
I can get I get so much more focused work done when I'm at the office. And I'm actually scared that as we transition to going to the office, right now I go into the office one day, and I'm worried that when when it starts going into like 1 day a week or 2 days a week, that it's going to lose that special patina that's developed where I'm able to get as much work done as I am when I'm there.
Yeah.
But that'll have to be something I address moving forward. It's just
when the time comes, right? Like, yeah.
when the time comes. Yeah. And I think that's just because it's like, this is a special occasion. I am here for a purpose, and I have very clearly defined purposes when I'm there. I'm productive at home, but when I'm there, I'm able to focus so much more than when I am home. And it feels good whenever I leave. It feels like a very long, exhausting day when I'm at the office as opposed to being home. But it's good. It's good. So I've enjoyed that.
Nice. There you go. All right, so question time.
Is this media talk?
Yeah, well, I have two-pronged media. I had some thoughts this week about it.
Okay.
Number one, chief, being that this week, I don't know if you noticed or got the text I sent you, but it was J.R.R. Tolkien's birthday.
It was.
This
week.
Week.
That's what that was. Okay.
Yeah.
Happiest.
It would have been his. I think it was 129th birthday, something like that. And so that's cool.
Birthday.
Yes. So we have been watching the movies, right here,
of course,
nice.
As you do. And so we haven't made it through all of them this week, but we watched, or last week and this week rather, but we got through all the Hobbit ones. We had all the Hobbit movies, right? Extended, obviously, like you do.
Okay.
And so my question is, controversially, I know a lot of people don't like the Hobbit. That's the whole thing. You don't like it. It's not good. I think they're fun to watch. I like them. So whatever. But I want to know, do you have a favorite Hobbit trilogy movie?
Oh.
And I realized when thinking about my own answer to this question that my sort of thoughts and reasoning behind it are different from The Hobbit and from The Lord of the Rings. I think that's because they're different kind of tone and how the movies are, like The Hobbit's more like fun. Like, well, at least more fun, I guess.
Right.
It's a lot more like adventure-y till the third one when they're all like crazy and Thorin's all nuts. But like they have that different tone. So I think my answers are different for both the trilogies. And so I just wanted to your opinions on that.
So are we just talking about like The Hobbit in general? Like,
I want
just the Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah.
The Hobbit trilogy.
Just
Don't
the
try and
Hobbit
break
trilogy,
the premise,
first off.
Aaron.
Oh.
Just don't break the premise. It's just
No,
I don't think I was. Again, remember how we were talking earlier about how sometimes I'm not the most clear? I think this is one of those times. So,
Well,
yes,
Aaron,
I was talking about
Aaron
the
was about
Hobbit movie trilogies.
No, Aaron was about to go into like, well, there was an animated one done in the 60s that I kind of liked the most.
No, that's true. That one's interesting. But like,
oh, sorry.
No.
but the new Peter Jackson Hobbit trilogy. I want to know, do you have a favorite one? Or do you not even like them? Because I know some people don't like them. They poo-poo the idea of the Hobbit trilogy. They're like, oh, we don't like it. It's not as good as the Lord of the Rings. Because they added a lot of stuff. They did stretch it a bit, right? And so, like, when I say a bit, I mean a lot. But,
A lot.
you know, I think at face value for what it is, I think they're fun movies to watch, and I like them because I like the universe. And again, that kind of thing we've talked about a few times before, like the setting for me, like kind of makes a lot of that stuff okay because it's so good and I like it so well that I can live. Oh no, I have to live in this universe for 40 more minutes. Oh, how terrible! Like I can handle that. So I don't know if you have a favorite Hobbit trilogy movie.
So I, as a whole, did not like the Hobbit trilogy
See,
at all. And I think my biggest beef from that is, I think, as you just touched on, is the Hobbit book is very kid. Like, it's very kid. And then the movies came out and they did not feel like they were made for children.
See, I think there are lots of that aspect still there. Because a lot of the way that the dwarves act seems very...
I definitely can agree with Collin because you don't really see that like in the other three, because like the first one where they're doing like the introduction of the hobbits or of the dwarves, like that's the only real time like the goofy silliness comes out. And
you don't think the barrel riding thing from the second movie has that?
Like okay, that's the only other time I can think of.
Like I feel a lot of that in there.
Yeah, because like it's got the little whimsical stuff in it, but I like there's not. I like the Hobbit movies. I do think that they are different, that they are a little they're quirky in their sense, but I think compared to the books, even though I've only read partial of them, they're more whimsical and they're more like musically inclined. I guess that's the word.
Yeah.
In their things that they talk about, but I like them because they do kind of have that sense, but I do kind of see where Colin's coming from.
I think here's the thing. If they wanted to have the whimsy, they needed to do the whimsy. They did not need to also bring in the seriousness of the other three films. That's where I get off track with these, is that there's this incongruity of they try and have it both ways. Of they try and have that feel, the serious tones, the dark nature of the movie of the first three, and they bring that into here, while also doing barrel riding and ridiculous dwarf stuff. And it's like, I can't. I like the last one, the Battle of the Five Armies. So desperately wanted to be Helm's Deep over again, but it was so hard to take that seriously and really be in that moment, given these other moments of extreme levity that didn't match the characters that I was seeing on the screen. So I had really had a hard time and did not like. I definitely did not like the Battle of the Five Armies. If I had to pick one, I think it would be An Unexpected Journey, because the story arc at that point is so small and the world that they're in is very small that they don't get all these threads way out there, and you don't quite get to this serious, weird nature that they try and take it to at the later ones. With that said, it is a toss-up to me because of Desolation of Smaug, because I love Smaug so much. It's just, I think I like the first one the best.
Right. Aaron, thoughts?
I even had to think. The first one is definitely kind of like this is magical and Lord of the Ringsy. It's kind of, it's a little, I don't say like, not ruined. That's not the right word. But it's the second one kind of like a little like, it's a little different kind of pace. I do like the Battle of the Five Armies just because it is just kind of chaotic and what is going on kind of thing. But that's kind of me and the little quirks that I like of it. I would probably still have to say the first one is my favorite, because that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the movies. And that's whenever you think of The Hobbit, you think of an unexpected journey of kind of, this is the start. This is what everyone quotes the most of, unless you're Bill Connolly riding on top of a pig.
Yeah, that's
I don't think anyone can really top that. But
it's pretty great.
To me, it's still kind of cool of whatever aspect it is.
Yeah, I think I agree more with Aaron. Like, I think this, like I was thinking about, I think the second one is my least favorite. And again, like, when I say least favorite, it doesn't mean it's not, I don't think it's good. Right? I'm not like, oh, it's terrible. I think it's like, I just have to put them in some kind of order. Like, I would still rather watch it over like many other movies, right? But I feel like the second one for me, it's just, it's one of the only ones that like just feels long. You know what I mean? Because like they're all very long. Because I like the extended versions because I like all that other stuff. But like that one to me like feels long because there's so much in that movie. Right? Like the Battle of the Five Armies is I think it does a better job because it's basically just that part. Right? The whole arc of that story is basically just the battle and right before it and right after it. So it's just like one event. The whole movie is basically one event. Now that event, I see how Collin can like, it's a little much sometimes. You're like, are we still going? What's happening? But like, it at least makes sense. I feel like the second one is, even though I like a lot of parts of the second one, there are a while where you're like, more random characters we have to what more story arcs. Oh my gosh, why is it so? And so I feel like that one is the most just like, oh my goodness, what the heck is going on here?
Sure.
And I think I would have to agree that the first one is my favorite just because of it's much more concise. There's like a whole story there. The whole thing is it's very orderly, like do. Starting the journey is very fun, right? All the dwarves come to the house and all that stuff. And the beginning and the introduction of that group of characters, like that main ensemble, is interesting. Even though there's like so many dwarves that you're like, dwarf number 3. Like I literally don't know who you are. But like I only know like 4 of their names. And like there's so many. That's the my biggest problem with the Hobbit trilogy is there's so many characters that I don't care about. Yeah, like all over this. Right? There's so many dwarves that I'm like, yep, you're there, and you're there too.
And they try so desperately.
Like half of them are just like, who are you? What's going on? I don't even know your name. Right. Like I get to the end of the third movie and I literally have no idea who you are. Like what is?
I was kind of taken back. I can't remember if it was in the second one. I guess it was in the second one where, oh, elves are here. Oh, and there's Legolas. Like,
yeah, and there's more forest elves. Oh, and then here's the Lake Town people. Oh, and hello Bard, and like, oh, hello, like.
I will say it is kind of cool that Thranduil, the elf king, he's actually from Oklahoma, so that's kind of dope.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying these characters are bad. I'm saying, like, why are they all here at the same time?
Like, who are you? Yeah.
So, like,
I can get that.
That's my thing with the second one. Like, again, I like the second one, but that's the only one to me that actually feels long,
overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know, and that you feel the 3+ hour runtime of that one. You know what I mean? You're like, oh. The rest of them, you're like, oh man, it's almost over. What the heck? That one, to me, at least, like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. And again, there's lots of good parts, but some of the connective tissues, like, okay. And I think that one is really hampered by the problem where there's a lot of dwarf stuff in that one, like tons of it. They're all over the place. And there's so many dwarfs. I'm like, who are you? What are you even doing? Do you even speak in this movie?
Right.
Like, you know, and that the extended versions do have some extra, like, oh, like, here's some more character, but you're like, I don't know who you are. Okay.
It's not helping.
I actually don't care about you.
Yeah, and again, as much as I do like Smaug, and I think, you know, I do like seeing him on screen, the all the Lake Town stuff I could really care less about. And
yeah, like, it's cool look, right?
It is,
neat.
But
it's fun.
Again, I distinctly remember the scene where not the king, but whoever it is, he's trying to run away, and there's gold and stuff spilling all over. And again, it's like, it's supposed to be, I guess, funny or comical or amusing, but it's just not.
Yeah,
right.
It's weird.
Not even like I never laughed at that or thought.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh, they're trying too hard, right? They just come across as trying way.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's hard to balance because, like, some of the themes that they deal with, like Thorin's arc, is very rough. You know, that's kind of a deep dive there.
Yeah,
and it's weird. It is kind of hard when they try to balance, like, that arc with, like, you know, the rest of how the dwarves are presented, right? Like, and then there's Thorin, like, going crazy and, like, being all weird and bad guy-y, right? So, like,
yeah.
So, what about the Lord of the Rings trilogy then?
Oh, I was afraid you were going to follow up with it.
Yeah, I had to follow up now. I'll at least start with this. The reason I brought this up, interestingly, is because it's weird to me that the reason I like the first Hobbit movie, The Unexpected Journey or whatever, all the reasons I like that movie are basically all the reasons I don't really like the Fellowship of the Ring.
Well,
because, like, in the Fellowship of the Ring, I feel like there's like so much and, like, nothing really happens. Like, there's a bunch of cool scenes, and, like, the ending is really cool and all that stuff. But the rest of it's like, okay. Like, it's, to me, out of all three of them, in context of the three, that one is the least for me. Like, but it's weird because all of the reasons that I really like The Hobbit kind of transform into all the reasons I really don't like the Fellowship of the Ring.
Well, I think they're, again, you're viewing them all in context of each other as a trilogy.
Well, yeah,
right. Like, so,
yeah,
because I agree. Like, the Fellowship is insanely boring. Yeah, if
like, it's again, it's good. But
really
it's like,
good,
yeah, it's
well
to me,
done.
it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
Yeah. So,
my favorite is the Two Towers, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. That's the best for me. Like, there's because they do in that movie, they do a really good job of balancing all the different stories that are happening at once. Yeah. So, like, it always feels like, where unlike in the second Hobbit movie, which name I can't actually remember, the Desolation of Smaug. Like, I feel like sometimes when all the characters are in different spots, you don't get it's like uneven about where you are, right? It feels like you spend a lot of time here, maybe not as much time with this other people, you know. In the Two Towers, at least from when I view it, I feel like it's really balanced. Yeah. And it really moves the story really well because you're here. Okay, now you're here. Now you're back here. Now you're over there. Now you're over there again. Right? Like it moves.
Yeah.
It moves really well because there's so many different small elements and they spend like just the right amount of time with them and to cut back someplace else and then go there and then go there. Plus, I think Helm's Deep is the best battle sequence out of any of them.
Hands down, without a doubt.
Done. Yeah. Full stop. I don't care about, like, Pelennor Fields is good. That one always, like, Theoden's little charge thing makes me tear up, like, literally every time. Don't even. Yeah. Like, it's like, no, what's that over there? I'm not, like,
I think,
but the Helm's Deep, that's so good.
because the odds and what's at stake. And then plus just to watch for however long that scene is, just like an unrelenting, full on siege take place, right? Like, that there is so much on the line for that. And then the little technicalities of the machinery that they're doing and the different tactics that you see being put into place, like it just like it you sit there with mouth agape watching that scene as the onslaught happens. I love Helm's Deep. That makes the Two Towers for me. That makes that movie on top of what you mentioned.
Oh yeah.
Each time they're going from person to person, it's also that time is spent so well at each cut to move not just the story forward in that piece of the puzzle, but that character at that time.
Like with the Merry and the Pippin dynamic, plus Frodo, Sam, plus Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, I think Gimli's my favorite ever, but like, and then Gandalf over there, right? Like then when you get to Rohan, the Theoden and Aeromir and all that stuff, like it's really love it. Plus, I think the music is great in that movie too. Like I just really like Rohan in general, like that kind of aesthetic that plays is so good. And also, side note, having been to New Zealand, watching these movies is murder. Like, oh gosh, why?
Ready to go back.
Heck yeah. Anyway, sorry, Aaron.
No, to me, I definitely was going to say, Two Towers was iconic, but I think like every time I think of Lord of the Rings, I always think of the charge of the Rohirrim at
the Pelennor Fields
in the third movie.
Oh man!
To me, that does catch all of the fields.
That one gets me. Yeah, and that one still gets me every single time.
I think I remember that more, kind of more than anything, really. Of how iconic it was and how if anything as a kid, if there's any scene of a movie that I want to replicate more, it's that. It also kind of, to me, the even though it is the CGI and all that stuff of what's called Minas Tirith, I think that is still super cool.
Oh no, it's really good. It's really well done. It's great.
It definitely kind of shows how large this universe is, and kind of just how like big, all you think it's who said it best? I can't remember who it was, but like when they talk about like it's in I can't even think of the scene, but they talk about like even though this is so big, we got to take it's at the tail end of the Battle of the Black Gate of how much like they've been through all this so much stuff and there's more to go.
Yeah, that's
how just kind of big it all is, but how much a little hobbit could do at the tail end. But I thought it was just cool just to kind of see, because you hear all that stuff of Minas Tirith, and all this stuff. And then you don't, it doesn't come into its majesty until the third one. And, not Denethor, but Boromir's brother. That charge when, Colin's favorite thing, when Aramir is charging and Pippin's singing.
Oh man, that's
song.
Really
that also caught the feels. And I think to me, like encompassing all of that, even though I truly love the second one, I think for me when I talked about just the full in awe of Lord of the Rings, I always think of the third one.
I do like that one, but I think mine's still there's a lot of good stuff there, and like you said, they do a lot. The story really progresses there. I feel like it doesn't do quite. The pacing isn't quite as good as Two Towers for me, but okay, I see what you feel because there's a lot of very like it's even. It does a lot of it feels. You can feel the upped stakes. Like Helm's Deep is like high stakes, but like the Return of the King is like that's it, right? Like that's the final. So I think those stakes kind of add a lot to that emotion and stuff, which is cool and fun personal trivia. The Return of the King is one of the very few movies that I've ever seen multiple times in a theater. So I don't normally go to the movie theater multiple times to watch the same movie. Right. Return of the King, I watch at least 3 times in the movie theater.
Gosh. That's a lot.
Well, I think I went with different people, right? Because there was somebody who was like, I haven't seen it yet. Like, all right, let's go do it. So I was like, I think that's what it was. It was one of those situations where like, oh man, I haven't seen it yet. Have you? I'm like, yeah, but I mean, I'll go with you. So like, let's go. I think
that's awesome.
But yeah, I think for me, it's definitely Two Towers.
Man, those are good.
So there we go. I know. We're going to watch.
Can you believe that those were 20 years ago?
I don't want to talk about that.
20.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about that.
I can't.
That's fine.
My God.
I can. That's.
Wow. That's insane.
Yes, it is. Because 20 years ago is when I first had we did that, like my friends and I, the first whenever they all came out on DVD finally, we had our first ever marathon.
Right,
where we just sat down, we went to my friend's house, we watched all of them.
Didn't we
back to back.
Colby Smith's house?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, because you picked us, at least me, up after school, and I was excited because it was like the last day of school. And I was like, oh, yeah, I get to go home and do this. And you're like, nope. You got to watch Lord of the Rings. I was like,
gotta watch Lord of the Rings. Sorry. It's good for you.
So
you're welcome, by the way.
We I think we missed the first movie, but because we played it like in the basement. We played like Left 4 Dead or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
we watched them all.
And then we came up and watched it. And I was like, oh, my gosh, there's so much Lord of the Rings.
You're welcome.
I didn't know this was a thing.
It's great. But yeah. So it was a long time ago. That's how long ago that was. That's what we did. So yeah, we haven't watched we're going to watch the rest of it. We're going to start watching some more of those this week, but maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to ask that since it was on my mind and we've been going through there. And it was his birthday this week, so that's really cool. That's fun. So there you go. More Lord of the Rings with Oh Brother. There you go. We're welcome. Listeners.
I love it.
Let us know your favorite Lord of the Rings trilogy movie and also whether or not you even like The Hobbit. If you do, which one's your favorite movie? Hobbit. And do you even know the dwarves' names? Who are they? What the heck is going on with them? I don't know.
Gloin.
Yeah, one of them's Gimli's dad, but he has like no lines in the movie ever. No. He's just there.
Mm-hmm. That.
And then Thorin.
Thorin, Oakenshield.
And then Dwalin. I think it's the other one I know.
There's like...
He's the big bald one. That's always like... Oh, and Boper. He's the one with the weird hat.
Yeah.
There you go. I know those ones. dwarf
Cool.
names.
Well,
I
that
don't know.
sounds
That's all I got.
wonderful. Just close out of that one.
Yes.
Exciting things ahead. Very cool.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Very good. Good. I love it.
Same. All right. Well, I think that's about it for today.
Okay. Well,
what's the game plan for this weekend?
sure.
Should we end the episode first?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Love you guys.
Love you too. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.